So today I'm going to be showcasing a bit of a slick back mullet with a burst taper, and we'll probably do something creative on the back as well, on the hairline. We'll see how it's going to go, but what I'm going to do is do some scissor work first, get it all nice and dry, and then yeah, we'll start using the clippers. So what I'm doing now is just sectioning down the hair, getting everything nice and wet. This haircut will be to get a nice box section. So I'm going to groom and flatten everything the way the hair wants to go. Today is pretty much cross-graduate everything back, start on the sides and just run it straight back. By cross-graduating both sides into one another, we'll be left with a nice triangular shape this way, which is kind of what I want. I kind of want to leave that length there, so that's why I'm going to do that. But yeah, we'll start with some diagonal back cross-graduation, looking to retain most of this length. You can either do it at the start or at the end, because the reason why I'm doing it at the end is because there's not really any bulk to get rid of. If it was really grown out, I'd probably come in and maybe think about doing the sides first just to make things easier, but we sort of can see where things are going to live. So I'm going to start by graduating this. This is all going to go diagonal back. So as I'm coming around and graduating diagonally back, what I'm going to do to retain this length at the bottom is just change my finger position. If I wanted to come tighter and do a taper at the end, I'd literally just follow the head shape round. What I'm doing at the moment is probably creating more of a triangular shape as we come out. And we're just going to use this length we've got here as our guide at the bottom. So we've got some awesome new clippers dropping this year, guys. We've got a new XCell clipper, trimmer and foil shaver. A whole new set, sort of to match the old XCell hairdryer that we had. We've also got a new boosted clipper called the Boosted Up this year, which is, I'm tipping, going to be one of the best, or if not the best clipper in the game. There's no debate. They've completely reworked the whole clipper from the ground up. Fixed a few issues that they had with hair getting into the old model, and it's super quiet, super reliable. Just going to keep that weight, that length that I sort of want to keep for him to grow his hair out. We've sort of got this nice triangular shape going this way, and that's exactly what cross graduation will do. If you're unhappy with the weight that you've left there at the end of the haircut, you can literally just come through and take that corner off. So usually, guys, when I'm doing a slick back, my choice of shape vertically is always triangular. And what that'll do, going this way, will help just keep that length in the fringe that we need, reduce a little bit of that interior weight that we don't need, and then we can make a decision whether we want to go square or round horizontally. Taught us, we're like, everything's got to be square. It doesn't matter what the hair type was. It's completely untrue. The way like more barbering has gone, round layers are very important. So definitely have a play around with it. If you've got clients, if you're so used to cutting square all the time, I recommend like playing around with round layers. You get some really good results, especially with thicker hair. The length on the fringe is sitting really nice. So I'm going to take a guide from the back layers. Going to make sure my client's head position is upright. Then I'm going to find the guide from the back and cut from there. Not much coming off, guys, but it's still important to run through your systems and processes just to keep that nice, accurate shape. I'm going to use vertical sections to cut the top. That just helps me control the triangle shape that I really need for this haircut. To keep it square horizontally, I'm going to over direct into my previous section. So my last comb is going in to help over direct, finding my guide and cutting. Over direction when cutting the top of the head on the layers on top is a real game changer. If you ever need any help with your over direction and the thinking of it, pulling it towards the round of the head will help round it off. pushing it away from the round of the head will help keep it square. So it's, once I was taught that, it was pretty easy from there. And nothing's coming off that fringe to retain the length. So now I'm just going to quickly cross-check the texture paste, yep, and sea salt spray as well. I'm actually going to cocktail those products, dry it in wet, and diffuse up a nice messy slick back. So my model today is Phoenix Simpson. Let's give it up for Phoenix. He's my stepson. He's been in my life for about 6 years now, and he was one of my very first test dummies when I was practicing cutting hair, and the haircuts have come a long way. But he's growing into a fine young man, so if there's any single ladies out here today, you found your boy. This is more like a sea salt spray. I'm also going to cocktail it with the texture paste medium hold. So I'm just going to dry a little bit of this into the hair. If I'm ever drying product into the hair, you don't want to dry too much. It's probably 50% of what you'd normally use, and you really want to work it from the roots to the tips. You don't just want to clump it down on top of the hair, because what it'll do is just weigh it down and make it dirty. But if you really work it through from the roots to the tips, you'll get some really good results. And I find probably like pastes are the best. Some clays can dry all right in shorter styles, but you want something on the pastier side. So guys, what I'm doing, low speed, low heat. I really don't want to blast too much heat into this hair, otherwise it could frizz up. I'm not going to sort of bone dry it either, guys. I don't really need to do that. I'm going to do my clipper work afterwards. So I'm going to dry it to probably about 50%, and then we'll start our clipper work. The main focus is to get the sides where you're going to start your clipper work nice and dry. So one thing I've noticed like a lot just online and stuff probably the last 3 to 6 months is a lot more sharper lines on our mullets at the back, and scissor cuts as well, but still leaving like nice texture around the ear. I think like last year it was a lot more textured along the bottom, but this year heaps of blunt lines, and yeah, they've been really changing the game. I've been loving doing that in the shop, so that's starting to look pretty nice there, guys. Like I said, I'm not going to get it bone dry. It'll kind of air dry as we do our clipper work. I find just by drying the area that you're about to use your clippers on will save you a lot of hard work at the end. So what I'm going to do on this is a bit of a burst taper. It's a bit of a take on the high taper, but it's just going to wrap around the ear a little bit more. It's only a subtle little difference, but it can make a massive difference in the end result. So guys, what I'm doing is just creating a neutral working area with my new Gamma boosted up. This thing is absolutely slicing. Now I'm going to come in and set my skin line with the new Gamma XCell trimmer. New colorways on this are pretty sick. Comes in pink, lime green and orange. So like I said, guys, we're going to do what's called a high taper, but we're just going to wrap it around the ear. So pay close attention to where we set the guideline.
Play with it if you want, but we don't have any here. I can get you some.
So when putting in your guidelines, guys, take your time. You don't want to go too firm with the trimmer. But that guideline's just wrapped around the ear a little bit. I'll show you there, guys, now. Now I'm going to use my Gamma XCell foil shaver in hot pink. This has got some really nice weight to it. I think this is going to be a really big drop for Gamma as well. It's got a vector motor, is that correct, in the XCell? It does. Yep, so if it starts catching on hair, what the motor actually does is speeds up, which helps just crunch down like longer lengths. So if you're in a rush and you've got a little bit longer, you know, struggling for time, this will eat hair pretty quickly. So we've got a couple of different ways we can attack this. We can either fade it up or fade it down. What I usually like to do is focus on my zero guideline first and make sure I get that out. So I'm going to start with my open clipper and come in about a centimetre's width just above my first initial guideline there. Just sort of a light flick out at the top as I come up. The new Boosted Up has got the Gamma Fade blade on it, which is definitely my favourite out of all the blades, especially for this very part of a fade. Like, it just makes this skin line to come out super easy. As you can see, that clipper's closed and that line has just disappeared pretty much. I find, especially when you're first learning to do skin fades, the skin line's probably the hardest part to get out. So now I'm just going to start with my number one open, guys, and I'm going to flick straight up into the gradient we've got here. My main focus is to get rid of this middle line. When you're doing tapers, guys, compared to like a skin fade as well, just like think about using like half of the clipper blade. You can sort of get into like little details a lot better rather than coming in with the whole blade. You can just sort of come in with a couple of teeth at a time. You can really break up dark spots and stuff like that. A good one to do too is if you're going this way, use that side, so you come through that way. Use that side of the clipper, then when you come back, just flick it. Yeah, it's a nice little motion. So guys, I've pretty much got rid of that line, but I'm just going to come through with my half guard and detail. These are the Gamma magnetic guards. They come up from a 1/2 to a 2. And you can hear the way they snap on, just how good they are. They really are amazing guards. So usually when I come in with my half, I'll use it half open. And once again, just using the corners of my clippers. Ba-dum, boom, boom. Ba-dum, boom. So now, guys, I'm just going to use a little bit of clipper over comb just to help connect what we've got here. Now, because I've done diagonal back graduation with my scissors, I'm going to keep the same motion going with my clipper over comb. So it's a diagonal back kind of flick. But I'm just kind of following that diagonal back graduation. So just hitting some scissor over comb just to tidy up this side before I move on. I find completing your steps before you come around and start the other side's a good habit to get into. You don't want to just keep moving around the head all the time when you haven't finished what you're doing. So to just tidy up the edges of this taper, I'm going to look to box up the hairline a little bit without trying to push him back. So Gamma XCell trimmer, just face me this way. Trying to get a nice sort of L shape up here. One thing you don't want to do with these is kind of push anyone's hairline too unnaturally. We're just kind of working with what we've got here. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. Start with my 1.5 open, come up into my clipper weight. Now the reason I'm going to use my 1.5 first and not my trimmer, I want to set a guideline at the top of this blend where we're going to finish, okay? So like a good rule of thumb is like 2-3 fingers. And it's important that all your guidelines when you're putting them in, they're even and consistent. So if I leave it like this, see how it's a little bit choppy and it's not blended properly, I won't really know where the fade's going to end. Sort of I do, but I'd rather visually see it. So that's why I'm going to look to blend this. I'm also going to work out these darker spots here and just like create a neutral working area.
You're actually doing an imaginary line.
Yeah, well, yeah. Basically, what I'm trying to do is complete the blend from the clipper work to the scissor work before I move on. Yeah, just makes it easier at the end, and you sort of know where you're going to finish for sure. So I'm creating that line. I'm obviously not trying to put a line in, but I'm trying to put a visual guideline in so I know where to stop. Yeah. I'm also just working out all this. All this needs to be a nice even 1.5. So if I kind of leave this and don't run over it, you're just going to be fighting at the end. So it's a good habit to get into. Nice, good on you. How long have you been doing it?
Too fucking long.
Whereabouts are you located?
I got a little barber shop down at Tweed.
Queensland, yeah?
Tweed.
Nice, man. Is that, that's Queensland,
Just
yeah.
just over the border.
Oh, nice.
Yo, I want everyone to come in a little bit closer.
So you're New South Welshman.
Top.
Yeah, good. Nice.
And we're right on the border.
That's the best state for sure, mate. I'm from Tassie, so I've got no bias. I live in Sydney, though.
Have you got 5 or 6 fingers?
I got 2 heads. To do if you're ever doing these 2 guys, like hairlines like this, at least what I do is just grab a little bit of hairspray and just prep the line.
Hairspray.
A little bit of hairspray just before you line anyone up, and it'll help it lay down. And you'll get a nice crisp sort of edge up just from the lacquer. Yeah. So yeah, it can definitely help. It's going to be a tricky one because I haven't got a mirror. A good way to check your balance on your lineups is through your mirror as well, but we'll just go by eye for today. This trimmer blade, the Expo blade that they've got on these trimmers are really soft, but they're sharp. So I find they're really good for the client's skin. You get no irritation, especially under the neck when doing beards and stuff. But they're just sharp enough to get the job done as well. I like to use my 6-inch scissors while I'm doing scissor over comb. I've got a little 5-inch pair too that I like to use when I'm doing like sections and stuff. But yeah, these are perfect for scissor over comb. Another trick, if you've got no mirror, you can put your phone on it. The phone doesn't lie a bit like a mirror, so if I'm looking at that, I can see the dark spot that I need to take out. So it's about here. So what I'm going to do is just come in and point cut. And you can use your phone just to sort of reference. Yeah, it's a good one. Pretty much done with that, I reckon. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate you guys staying and hanging around.
And Tommy, is this your stand?
The gamma stand?
No, this stand here where you're cutting this hair. Will you be doing that regularly over the next?
I've got one more cut and that's the last hour of the last day. I'm not sure how many people will be left, but I managed to get the call up for the first one today. One of our educators, Aiden, shout out to him. He's recovering in hospital. Got stabbed on Anzac Day while he was going for a run in Melbourne. Went to the dawn service, went for a run and nearly lost his life. So happy to fill in for him. He's a amazing educator, amazing barber. And we've got some really talented barbers on our team. I was just kind of a fill-in and I put my hand up and I was really lucky to get this opportunity. So it meant a lot that you guys hanged around for the haircut, honestly. I appreciate that. And yeah, wish Aiden all the best with his recovery as well.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Fires up.
So that's us. What we saying, Dash?
Bloody beautiful.
It's not bad, eh?